Yes, hello. Under orthographic projection, we are still we'll be looking at a different example, and yeah, so this is what we covered last time. So right now I'm going to cover this drawing before I jump back to number 4. So we have an elevation of a cone lying on its side given in the figure below. So the instructions are to copy the elevation full size, and then from it project a plan and the end view of a cone. Okay, so yeah, the first task is to figure out how to draw this a cone lying on its side, then the plan as seen from above, and an end elevation either from the left or from the right. Yeah, we could take the end elevation from either side because they were not specific. And maybe the other thing is they did not specify which uh, which type of orthographic projection we should use. Is it either first angle or third angle? But generally we'll be using first angle orthographic projection. Okay, so the first task is to draw the, it's actually not the height of the cone but rather the side. Is it a side? Because it's a curved surface, so we could call it the side probably, because the height is this distance from the midpoint to the vertex. So first we're going to work on the side, that is 90 millimeters, and then figure out how to attach the circular base, in which case this is more like a triangle. So the first thing we need to notice is that we have 94 millimeters here. It should be the same distance from here to here because this is a regular cone, or a rather perfectly regular cone, so it's not slanting, it's not cut. So this distance should be the same as this distance. So with that we will be using an arc to just project this distance to that point, and then use another arc to mark the 62 millimeters. Okay, so let me show you how to do it in AutoCAD. Alright, so this is let's see here. Okay, so yeah, this is what we are going to do. So I'm going to draw it over here, and maybe I can shift it when I'm done. First I'll start off with a line from here to there. I'll just give it any length. Okay, this says about 100. Okay, so I'll make it maybe 140. Okay, just a random line, and I'm going to use the arc tool. So I'll use the one that says start, end, and radius. So I want to draw an arc of radius 94, which is the distance of the side, given the starting point and the end point. So since all these arcs are drawn going counterclockwise, I'm going to assume this arc is starting from somewhere up here and coming down. Okay, so always you specify, if you choose or whichever arc that has start, end, start, end, start, end, whenever you are starting, you make sure you are following the counterclockwise sense. Otherwise it might not look as what you expect. Okay, yeah, so what I'm using is where is it, this one, where we specify the starting point, the end point, and then the radius. Okay, it's as simple as that. You don't have to overthink it. Okay, if it doesn't work for you, you use a different arc, but always follow the indications given at how you're supposed to use that tool. You don't just assume that it's supposed to go however you want it to go. It goes precisely as it was engineered to go. So I'll start from somewhere up here, and my arc will end somewhere there. So the next thing is to specify the radius. It should be 94. Okay, so as you can see, it starts from there going there, and still this is the counterclockwise sense. So this arc should have a center somewhere this side. So if I click on it, I should be able to see the center, which is this one. So I'm going to move the center to that end point of the line. Okay, as simple as that. Now this arc has to intersect with my line, so I'm going to just lengthen it to intersect with that line. Okay, so I'll trim off the extra bits. So I'm going to mark off a distance of because we need the other side, which starts from here to somewhere along this arc. Okay, so we don't know where, so first we have to mark off this distance, which is 62. Okay, in this case it will be just a line because we are looking at the cone from the side, so we can't see the circle from this from the front elevation. We are only looking at a line. We are seeing the circular face as a line. So let's mark off 62 using the same method, the arc, start, end, and radius. So all the arcs are going counterclockwise, the ones that have start, end. So start from here going counterclockwise there, the radius of 62. So if I click on it, I'm seeing the center, so I have to move it here. Move it to, well, I don't have my intersection activated, so I have to activate intersection, and then I want to move it there so that it will intersect there. Now all I'm left to do is to draw the line. I'm going to switch to outline because there's no more construction. Just draw a line from here to that intersection, to this intersection, and then back to a starting point. So that is my cone. Now the other thing I'm going to do is let me go back to the my layer 0 is the construction layer. Also let me make that line very, it's already 0.05. Let me see if I can make it any more smaller. No, I can't make it any smaller than that. Okay, it's fine. So we look at I'm going to project the center line, that one, and that shows the axis of the cone. So from that end point to a midpoint, which I can't find because midpoint is not active. I need midpoint, so I'm looking for midpoint. I need to deactivate perpendicular. I only need midpoint, that one. Okay, so we don't need to extend it or anything. So that is the first task is done. Now we need the end elevation and the well, we need the end. We also need the plan. So what you're going to do is to project lines downwards, vertically downwards for the plan. Wherever you have an intersection, even there for the center line or the axis, we just assume there's an intersection, although it's just an apparent intersection. Okay, it's not an actual intersection. So vertically downwards. These are very few points. It looks easy to do, but there's just one trick to it: drawing the circle, which is not in perfect view. Okay, so that is the only trick to it, and I'm going to show you what tool to use for that. Okay, and this one, then I'll lengthen this one. So we don't need to project this corner because it coincides with the base point here. Okay, so we don't need to project this vertex. And now we need to like draw an axis. We need to draw an axis, so I'll switch back to the outline. Draw an axis about 5 millimeters from the object. It should be fairly easy. Don't ask me how I'm drawing a line 5 millimeters from a certain point. That should be fairly easy. Then same thing here. We need to project a line 5 millimeters from that object. Then go back to the construction part and project other lines. Same thing, 5 millimeters for the end. Then another line from here, 5 millimeters for the plan. Okay, now let's start with the end. The end, it should be the end as seen from, it doesn't matter, since we are drawing it on the left side, so it's the end as seen from the right, that is in first angle, orthographic projection. So what will I be able to see from this side? It's going to be somewhat a circle, but not a perfect circle because it's inclined. So imagine you are facing this side and looking at this object. You're not going to see a perfect circle, but you see an elliptical circle. Okay, so that is the first task, is to imagine how the drawing is going to appear. Otherwise one could just put a perfect circle, which is wrong. We would get a perfect circle if this axis was horizontal. If it was horizontal, then the tip would be around here. This tip would be somewhere there. So if I were to look from this side or directly at the tip, I would see a perfect circle with a point in the center, which is for the tip. But this is not the case here. Although I'll be able to see the full diameter distance. Okay, so full diameter distance, so it will kind of look like a deformed circle. So that diameter distance is 62. We could project lines by construction, but it's a wastage of time. We already know the distance, so we mark off 62 from that point. It should be vertical. Okay, now the next task is to draw that deformed circle. So I'm going to first of all trim the end so that I'm only left with a box or a rectangular shape with a line in the middle. Okay, so that now I'm going to use this, create an ellipse using a specified center point. Okay, so basically what we're doing is an ellipse, or in other words a deformed circle. I'm going to use center and points. Okay, create an ellipse using a specified center point. Okay, so it's a 3-point ellipse, and I will choose the center to be the midpoint of that line. Then I will choose the first point, or any first point, to be that point. Now you see that makes a circle, but I need it to be deformed, so I'll choose the other point, which is there, is the same as this point, so that it's now elliptical, right? Okay, fine. So let's make it there. So you're not able to see this vertex because it coincides with a point on that ellipse. So that is our end. And now we need to mark the same distance, 62, which is from here to here for the plan. So I'll get the line tool using layer 0, get the line tool, start from there, go downwards 62. No, it's not the point. I'll do it again. We are starting from there, going downwards 62. Okay. Now I'm going to use my trim tool. The reason I'm using it at this stage is I'm trying to locate the midpoint. If I don't do it, I can't easily get the midpoint of here and here. If the line was continuous, I would have to be getting the midpoint of wherever the line starts from to where it ends, which is not realistic. So before we go any further, we need to first draw that face as seen from the plan, as seen from the top rather. You'll be able to see that face, that surface. It's going to be visible, but also more like a deformed circle. Then you'll be able to see this conical surface here, the conical surface, or this region, and up to the vertex. So again, we're going to use the same ellipse method, locate the center, then the first point is also a midpoint here. So now we deform this circle by getting a third point. Okay, so that is our thing. We'll convert it to an outline, or maybe before we do that, let's connect these lines, the lines that are making the cone. Let's connect there and there. Only that it's not going to connect the way you think it's going to do it. Let me show you an instance. If I start off from here, and I know some of you would think I will have to just connect with this point, but if I do that, then you see I've left out this part, so it wouldn't be a cone. If I'm looking at this part, it will be something different. So meaning my line shouldn't be here, but it should be tangential to that part. So that's what we're going to do. So take the line again, look for the midpoint, and now you're going to activate tangent. Okay, so with tangent activated, let's go back to the elliptical bit. As soon as you see the tangent symbol, you can click, go back here and look for that, look for tangent. Okay, so perfect, that is how it's supposed to be. Now we are going to move these to the outline layer. Perfect. Okay, so we can get rid of the rest of the lines if we want to. My mouse is misbehaving for no reason at all. Let me just get rid of these lines. So that is how it's supposed to be. But as long as you have outline, you don't really need to get rid of the lines, you can leave them there. Actually I should have left one for the center line, but it's okay. Okay, so we have that. We also have midpoint is active, and okay, yeah. Yeah, I need to just locate this center so that I have like I'm trying to draw a center line. The line weight is too thick. I'll make it default. Let's make it default. Okay, so that's default. And what else is missing? Let me see here. Okay, I think that is it. Line type, load a different center times 2. Let me try that. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is what we should be having. So let me just move it to close to this one, and we could dimension it. Yeah, but I'm not going to do that because you can do that. I think, yeah, anyone can do that by now. Maybe the only thing I can do is to show it in the viewport. Okay, so add another viewport, rectangular. I'll just start from here and end somewhere there. Focus on this object. Okay, we're supposed to move this to the viewport layer so that we can freeze it. Alright, so yeah, that is it. Okay.